to see how this works today. Leaves me a little more free to use my hands, check in with my notes. So I'm actually doing this a little different today. I was up pretty late last night editing, well, into the morning editing. And so by the time it was time for me to actually record day 12, my day 12 daily reflection, I was yawning and my brain wasn't coherent. And so it's actually the next morning and I'm doing the reflection from yesterday now. Every day it gets better. I am thoroughly enjoying this process, finding myself more enthusiastic as each day passes. My conversations with a few close friends, they've been a great space for me to interact with another human beyond my daily reflection, to just talk a little bit more deeply about some of the things that I'm experiencing and learning. And it gives them the space also to ask me questions and challenge some of my ideas. And I'm finding that connection is actually helping us to become closer as friends. And it's deeper. I really am understanding what it looks like to deepen the relationship, because now we're essentially communicating with each other from our spirits and our deep emotions and our deep fears, as well as the deeper things in the shadows. And we're talking about things that are in the shadows that previously I think, at least I would approach as taboo conversations, scary conversations, very difficult things to talk about. And what has been great about it is that process of learning to be gentle with myself and learning to come up with newer contexts, to be able to go back in time and find the source of some traumatic experience or some particular emotional response or trigger and just observe it. And then to remember it with new context has made it comfortable for me to go into those places, because I'm armed with the tools to properly assess what's happening on the inside of me. And those same tools make me no longer afraid to have these kinds of conversations with close friends of mine as well. Day 12 was about expression. What's mine to live today? I thought about three things. Faith, to live in, feel faith, to get beyond intellectualizing faith as sort of this genuine hope that things are going to work out, and then just sort of affirming that because that's intellectually the right thing to do, but to feel what it feels like to have faith, to go into the distance and visualize in my imagination how it feels when things are working out exactly as they need to. And there's a sense of safety and calmness and peace and genuine joy about being alive, because everything is just working out and you can stay present in the moment. And even when you can consider that something might not work out, whatever that means in the future, you don't have to concern yourself with it, because eventually everything works out. Life unfolds in its normal process. And it's both a joyful and painful sometimes experience, but all of that is joy. And so faith was a word. Continued faith in the concept that the universe provides all that I need and everything that I desire, I am. Courage was the other thing for me to live today. Courage to do things. This was interesting. Courage to do things that create income opportunities for me. And so in this, I wrote it that way, and it's strange that I wrote it that way, because I feel like I was writing it purposely vague in my journal, and I'm now looking at that and wondering why I did that. I could be direct. Why am I being vague even in my journal? What this comes down to is maybe something that I was unwilling to write out loud explicitly. And it's that key to everything for me has always been a side project. It's always been a thing that it was a personal life hack, if you will, a personal lifestyle, a personal framework, and a concept that it was fun to do some classes and present it to people, but it was never the thing that I was going to do. And to some extent, because I enjoyed it as much, I didn't want to put any kind of pressure on myself to make it perform in my life. And to some extent, I feel like I'm still balancing that right now. And so when I wrote the word courage, I was saying courage to do all of the necessary things as if I was building this business to feed my family, my soul, and take care of my entire life. But to actually commit to it in that way and to have the courage to do it even though it could fail. And I think that's part of what it is, a willingness to stand in the gap for it even though it might fail, it might not work. Some of the things I'm doing might not work, but then now we go back to faith that everything is going to work out and it'll go exactly as it's supposed to. And because I've visualized the end and I've spent the time visualizing the end, then I've done the work and it's going to work. The other thing I wrote was love, but I actually want to talk about visualization a little bit more. And love for me is, I got it from the book, A Course in Miracles, where essentially one of the characteristics of love is that it is the true opposite of fear, or that fear can't exist in the presence of love. And when you have love, you recognize that you have the spirit of all that has created and made everything that we understand and see and can recognize as life, as well as everything in the universe that isn't alive, so to speak. That same energy, that same source is inside of you and brings you consciousness. And the experience of that consciousness and the awareness of that consciousness is love. But that also means there's an awareness of limitlessness, an awareness of infinite capacity, and that if you're existing in that space of love, there's no way for you to have a fear. And what I wanted to live yesterday, was staying constantly mindful and in awareness of love. And what I did also realize, well, I guess I'm going to talk about this. What I realized is that being in that space, the faith and the courage automatically is granted. And so what became more important was to exist in a space of love, to make all fear dissipate, and to make faith a natural outcome of love. And courage, really the need for courage disappears because there is no concept of fear when you're in love. And so that was yesterday. And so one of the things that I also wanted to make sure that I spent a lot of time doing, and I didn't spend a lot of time doing it, I spent some moments doing it, visualizing. And this was a courage to visualize. I wrote, the courage to visualize the future against my will. You know what's funny? There's something deep inside me also that sometimes needs to be right. And I think that's how the ego plays tricks on us, very subtle. And so what I started to figure out about how I sometimes use my imagination and my gifts and talents of creativity to creatively think about the worst thing that could possibly happen. And then, of course, convince myself that it's just risk management. I'm just being practical. And I don't know what or who convinced me, programmed me in life to be practical in that way, where the thing that I use my imagination for, the thing that gives infinite capacity and has the capacity to create whatever is in my mind, I use it to create scenarios of stress and worst case scenarios instead of best case scenarios. In visualizing what I want the world to be like versus visualizing what I don't want in the world. And I spend more time on the don't want. I wanted to have the courage to visualize for a sustained period of time what it's going to feel like, what the world looks like as when I exist in love and everything is working exactly as it's supposed to. And challenges continue to appear, but they don't have anything to do with me and who I am, that I'm able to be and express in my life fully, regardless of what external circumstance appears to be happening. And many of those external circumstances are just judgments that my brain makes. Anyway, I wanted to have the courage to visualize against my will because my natural programming is to actually visualize the worst. It's one of the things that's at the heart of my past experiences with anxiety, because I seem to default to worst case scenario versus best case scenario. And so yesterday I wanted to practice visualizing a future where everything works out and forcing myself to be wrong. This is strange. I really want to be right. And that's something I have to overcome. Always needing to be right. I want to be right all the time. And so I want to have the right answer. I want to have thought about the right thing. And as a kid, I guess in my youth, I got a lot of validation for being smart. And you were rewarded for doing the right thing versus the wrong thing. And what happens is sometimes parents and just adults in society create awards and punishments based on their independent moods, what annoys them versus what doesn't annoy them. And so I was desperately seeking validation and love and expressions of love, feelings of love. And so I sort of got programmed to people please and to do things that made other people feel a way such that they would express positive feedback and validation to me. And so having the courage to be wrong, visualize a future where everything works out, visualize life as it should be and as I could possibly desire, and even beyond my desires, visualize that and to spend consistent time doing it against my will, because I could be wrong. What if things don't work out? Then I gotta be wrong. And sometimes part of the visualizing things going badly was when it went bad, I can be like, I told you so to myself. I got to be right. So even if things go bad, we could take solace in being right. What strengthened love in me today? Connecting with people. I connected with, actually, I mentioned his name a few times, Dwayne. And one of the things we did, we learned how to better communicate with each other. Despite all the years of knowing each other and speaking to each other, we're recognizing that there are moments where we're assuming things about each other and wanting to offer value into each other's lives, but we're worried about each other's ego, or 2 years ago you said this and I didn't ask you about it, but I assumed this is what it meant, and so I don't want to say this thing. And so we had a conversation where we talked about many of these things and specifically walked through, if I say this or if I do this, here's what could be going on in my mind, and said something to the effect of, sometimes I'm questioning something and I could be wrong. And sometimes I'm pushing back against something I should or could be doing in business or in expression. And I'm pushing back because my natural tendency is to be risk averse internally, so I don't have to experience rejection or failure. And you have license to hold me accountable in those moments and ask me this question gently. Hey, is this out of love or is this out of fear? And I will know that's an honest question. And here's the thing, I may not know the answer. I may be in a moment where I'm convincing myself, no, this is out of love. I know what I'm talking about. But it's also a great sort of awareness tool to bring back into our communication with each other, so that we also have the capacity to help each other continue to evolve and grow in our relationship and work that we do together, as well as individuals. And so that strengthened love in me. I was very appreciative of that conversation. Again, deepening the relationship. Something else that strengthened love in me. I said out loud that I'm a content creator. And this is the thing, I'm a businessman and I'm a project manager and I'm a innovator and I'm a transformation and I'm a strategist or whatever. I create content, but I'm not a content creator. And there was something, I don't know what was holding me back from ever seeing myself as that. And I have years and years and years of content that I've never put out. And I think largely it's because there was a lack of courage, because things could possibly be out there and have the space to be criticized. And I desperately wanted to be in this safe space of never receiving criticism. And that clinging to that identity and prestige, the guy who succeeds and is always right, that held me back, man. And it kept me enslaved. You become a slave to this stuff, seeking likes and comments and what have you, like I was doing that in real life. Being able to strengthen and deepen relationships with friends of mine around these things has really strengthened love in me. So what did that leave me? One of the things that it asked to do in the day was create a short expression, speak, film, sketch, and release it publicly or privately. Don't polish, breathe it out. I've been doing that with this, and so it felt good that I'm already on the right path. I'm already doing the right thing. One other thing, and maybe I'll take this into tomorrow. I solidly came to the realization through some conversations as well as talking it out here. There is no separation between building a business and building my life. The greatest revelation through this process so far has been that the more I work on myself and that's it, like just commit to self-improvement, to self-actualization, to getting away from clinging to these identities about yourself, becoming gentle with yourself, going back in time and remembering things with context, telling yourself stories that empower you, being mindful, living in awareness, living as if you are alive, able to be present in every moment. That is what needs to be done. Everything else lines up in life after that. And so the business, jobs, the things that need to happen in order to sustain us so that we can thrive as human beings, I am clear that the more that I'm learning to thrive as a human, those things happen. So I don't have to build the business and build a life. There is no need to deal with life in terms of work-life balance anymore when you just go deep inside of you and you have a practice for that and a practice for staying mindful and aware of where you are in the moment and in the world and recognizing that you are eternally here. Day 12, the key to everything. We're gonna keep this going. My name's Rashad Howard and this is The Key to Everything.